Well, what a wild win for the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. 13-10, the final score. You guys know how it ended at this point. We don't have to walk you through every little detail, although we will sort of do that throughout parts of this conversation. But what a wild end to a hard-fought game today. Megs, like this game I think summed up perfectly like how football is just such a weird sport because the Browns are pretty much outplayed. I mean, you could argue their defense played at least level with the Packers defense for most of that game. And then obviously at the end, they reigned supreme. But I mean, they were outplayed. Their offense could do nothing. They couldn't put any, they were getting shut out for until there was like 7 minutes left in the game in general. Or no, I think it was even later than that. I think they got the ball with like 7 minutes, but they kicked the field goal with like 3:38 to go.
Yeah.
And they didn't score until 3:38 left in the game. And then all their points came after that at the same time. And somehow, some way, this game ends with the Browns coming out victorious 13-10 in one of the most, unfathomable wins that you'll ever see. I think this one's certainly going to stand out in the minds of Browns fans as one of the more memorable moments, particularly from like the recent years of the Browns, certainly the Kevin Stefanski era of the Browns, even in a season that might, end not a great record when it's all said and done. Just
whoa,
because.
Whoa. That might change.
I'm just saying in general, like it could. If nobody's anticipating this means like they're going to make a Super Bowl run. But I'm just saying.
What if they rip off 14 straight?
Yeah, I doubt it. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, I think that one's going to stand out even in a season that has the expectations around it that it does. And we're happy to react to it here with you. We do want to remind you guys, as always, to head on over to roundtable.io/sports/NFL/Browns. Join the conversation. Join the community over there at Cleveland Browns Roundtable. But also subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already as well, where you can find more content like this. More post-game reactions, our pre-game conversations, pod throughout the week, everything that you ever want, all available to you there. But Megs, yeah, man, like crazy ending. And I think Andre Schmidt gets to sort of define the day, and his redemption story is a magnificent one. That's another reason we love sports, right? Because of stories like that. You miss 2 kicks in week 1 and it cost you, and then you come back out and hit a game winner from 55 yards 2 weeks later. But that's the type of stuff that gets us all excited about sports and why we're so romantic about sports at times. And it all adds up to a Browns win in some dramatic fashion. But as you watch that all play out, just what was kind of running through your head? Because it was pretty wild.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. And first of all, shout out our guy Luke. That's right, Luke. 14 straight. I'll take that. That'd be pretty sweet. No, it was the initial thought after the Browns tie it up. I'll just cut to that point, and then immediately the kickoff goes, they get a nice return, and then they get the PI right away, and they're already on the plus side of the 50, and you're like, oh, that was fun for like a minute. Like, that was cool. Like, we got to dream for like 30 seconds about what that win could feel like. And then, the defense stiffened up again. And then the blocked kick was incredible. I thought Denzel got it, and then obviously the replay comes back around, and it was Shelby who got it, and that ball came out super low. Like, Shelby was up there, but like it wasn't. I
honestly thought Denzel got it.
I thought Denzel got
it. And it was funny. Like, as it was unfolding, I saw Denzel get like a really good jump, and then turn that corner, and I was like, oh my god, he's about to block this. And then it got blocked, and I was like, he blocked it. He actually blocked it. And then I said it was Shelby, and I was like, what? I was like, I thought it was Denzel.
What was your initial thought on that? Like,
honestly, if Denzel had blocked it, they probably would have taken it back. Because I think Greg saw what we all saw. I think Greg came around the other side, Greg Newsome, and he saw Denzel diving, and I think he was like, oh, I'm gonna go play this ball. Because you see him run like upfield. He doesn't run across towards the kicker. He runs upfield. I think if Denzel Ward blocks it, it probably doesn't even go to the line. I think it probably ends up just like bouncing backwards, and then Greg Newsome could scoop and score, honestly. So
just like step back schematically, like that's how those rushes work, where one side, you don't want both sides going in, because like if both guys dive, they both run into each other, it's a bad deal. So one side goes, and then one side's the return side. So Newsome's on the return side. I could not believe, like, because if you remember the camera, they were doing they had like the behind the kicker view on that like drone shot, almost like the camera that floats around the stadium, and it like was circling with the ball, and it like cuts out of the frame. I had no clue how Greg didn't return that. Like, it was a perfect bounce off the ground. I'm like, oh my god, Greg's got the ball. He's in the end zone. Like, it's game over. I'm curious to see what happened if it like slipped.
Yeah, I have to go back and watch it.
If you go back and watch it, but shocking. And then, but even at that point, you're like, oh, they still got to go 20 yards or so, and they have no timeouts, and so they still have to operate. And I thought Joe talked about it at the end. Somebody asked him like what his emotions were, and he's like, you can't have emotions in that moment because you still have to go out and do your job. Like, it's all fun and game. Like, it's all great that they got the block, but if the offense doesn't do anything with it, then it's all for naught. And the fact that operation they had with 12 seconds to go, and Kevin talked about it, and I'd encourage you to go back and find
Kevin said it was like on the fringe of when they would actually try that.
It's typically 15 seconds. Like, 15 seconds is like, that's where you feel good about it. Anything less than 15, it's shaky, and you could see it there. But everybody has to operate at, they have to execute. Okay, it starts with the play, right? It starts with the completion to David, because if that ball doesn't get completed, then you're screwed, because now you have 8 seconds left to go or whatever it may be. So he has to catch it. Then he has to get down right away. And then you saw the line fly up. Ethan Posick on that play was like the MVP
like
of the play.
In Njoku's face, like, give me the ball. Give
it to me. Like, chasing him. Honestly, like, it's like he was right there and he said it. And then you see the ref come in and tap it. And then everybody, like, the skill positions on that are so critical, because they know, right, when you're in those kill scenarios, like Isaiah Bond knows
they have assigned roles. They're like, hey, you got to be on the line, you got to be off, and you could tell, because like Njoku lines up, I think, is like an H-back role. Like, they basically said, like, we're gonna put certain guys knew they had to go to certain spaces in the backfield to make sure they were like aligned correctly, and they weren't gonna get like an illegal formation penalty. And yeah, I mean, that stuff's super critical, and it's why you practice it, obviously, and practice.
And the key is on those, like, if you have 5 guys in the backfield, that's an illegal formation, okay? And it's a penalty in the game, and the time runs out. Everybody, like, when in doubt, like, the guys are supposed to be where they're supposed to be. But if everybody just lines up on the line of scrimmage, it's not an illegal formation. They just can't go down for a route, okay? So you just have to just know where you're supposed to be and do it. And then from the quarterback, it's like you get – with 12 seconds left, usually you do like a quick left, right, and make sure everyone's set. You can't do that. He had to get up underneath there, snap it, kill it. And then all of that happened before you have the kicker getting iced and then drilling a 55-yarder. And you're like, heck yeah. And you felt so good for Andre Smith, because, the 34-yarder a couple weeks ago, I said some mean things about it on that post-game show. A lot of people said a lot of mean things about it.
They need to find a new kicker. So,
dude, I said I could go out into the park and kick 10 of those and make them. Like, how disrespectful is that? And for him to come out and go and hit that, I thought was so cool. And we talked about this pre-game or pre-show here, but he shared a story in the locker room, like how this summer's been really hard for him. He lost his mother unexpectedly, and he's gone through a lot of personal stuff. And then the first game he kicks, he basically loses the game for the team. Misses the extra point, misses the thing. He's like, how bad can it be? And then he responds in this way. I thought was amazing. You said it. That's why you're romantic about sports, man. It's stuff like that, those redemption arcs. And that's the good stuff.
It was cool. It was good for Andre. I love that you broke down like the technical part of it and everything that goes into it, because there was a lot there. The fact that he got iced and he still made it. I thought after he got iced, I was like, oh boy, this is not, I mean, I knew they were going to do it, but it was just like, this is one of those things where it's like, he's going to think about it too much. I don't know how I feel about it. They might, it might turn out badly or poorly. But he made it, and he gets to celebrate it, and rightfully so. I mean, it's not that I don't want him to work out as a kicker. It's just that it's wild how quarterbacks and kickers have just eluded this team for so long. But like, again, these are the stories that make it enjoyable, right? When you get some sort of a shot at redemption later on in a 55-yarder, like, that's not an easy kick for what it's worth either. And the fact that he made it was great. It's also kind of funny because you and I got into a little bit of a texting back and forth.
We sure did
about kicking. Because I thought that that other teams who had confidence in their kicker would have put the kicker out there for a 61-yarder before the half when you're down 3-0. And then I rattled off a bunch of kickers who have like 59 to 60 range kicks that probably would get a shot at making that kick. And you had some other points about like, what if it gets blocked and this and that. And my whole point was, if they had confidence in him, I don't think it's even a question. And I think that I think it becomes like your lack of confidence in your kicker because you missed a 34-yarder a couple weeks ago is then impacting the decisions that you're making in game, and it could cost you a game. And then it's kind of funny that it all came full circle and it didn't matter because he hits a 55-yarder anyway, and they win the game somehow, some way, despite all the other circumstances. So
the sequence at the end of the half, like in a vacuum, I think you're right. Like if there's no time, score time, whatever, I think you're right. Like a lot of teams would have that confidence. I still don't think the Browns do it. In that scenario, you're down 3-0 against the best team in the NFC, or they're power ranked third in the entire NFL, and you feel like you're within shouting distance of them. You didn't play great on offense, obviously, and you still felt you're down 3-0. If that kick gets blocked in return because 61-yarder has to come out low, if that thing gets blocked and sets the Packers up, that's a problem. If you miss that kick and you set them up with a potential Hail Mary and you go into that half, anything worse than 3-0, you feel like the wind is totally out of the sails and it's a colossal failure. So that's why I was on the side of what they did was perfect. You roll the guy out, you kill a little bit of time, then he's supposed to throw it as high as he possibly can, because if that thing hits the ground and it doesn't get picked off, there's no seconds left. So it's like, all right, you're good to go, and you get out of half, and you do it that way. I was good with that, and ultimately, like you said, it didn't really much matter at the end. But I think you said that's coaching scared. I said that's coaching smart, because then it sets you up for a potential fourth quarter comeback miracle edition that we saw in the fourth quarter on Sunday.
I guess the reason I don't feel like it's coaching smart in this, and this is a circumstantial thing for me, Megs, because sure, for other teams, it might be like, well, hey, we're not going to risk this because we don't want to put ourselves in a situation where we give up a touchdown, or if it's short, they can return it or whatever. And I get that. But for the Browns that are so desperate to score any sort of points, it just like to me, it's like, wouldn't you rather try to get the point? You know what I mean? Does that make sense to you? Like, to me, it's like you points are hard to come by for this offense. So you put yourself in a position where I get it. It's making 60-yard field goals. I think you sent me the numbers. It's like what, a little under 40% or something like that. 38%. So I'm not saying like it's a guarantee, but when points are so hard to come by, I get it. The Browns have the luxury of a great defense, but there was no guarantee after that point that you were going to be in that position even again to make points, and that was to get points, and you had a chance to tie the game there. I get the other side of it. I just felt like there's at least half the league that would put their kicker out there and say like, all right, we'll go ahead and we'll see if we'll take a shot. We'll see. Yeah. And he had made a 61-yarder. It's technically his career long. He made it in the UFL. And I think he made his career long in college, I think was actually what he did today, a 55-yarder, which by the way is the longest Browns walk-off game-winning field goal, I think, ever. 55 yards. It was, I want to make sure I get the wording right on that, but it was Andrew Siciliano who tweeted it. Where is it?
It probably had something to do with it.
55-yard game winner is the longest walk-off field goal in Browns history. So he made some history with the kick today. Either way, it was a special, it ended in a special way. And I think that a kick like that certainly changes how the Browns coach with Schmidt later down the line. Cause I even brought up two, Megs, last week against the Ravens, they punted from the Ravens 40, and that would have been like a 57-yarder, 56-yarder, somewhere in that range. So still same sort of thing applies, right? Like that was another example I used of like they get in this range of the field and they're like, well, we don't even want to try it. And so it was good that he made a 55-yarder because maybe they can change their philosophies in that area of the field moving forward.
Yeah, no doubt. And what I thought was really cool was just, first of all, the reaction, the total 30 seconds after the kick went in, where the team like rallied around him on the field, and then like all the DBs took him down into the dog pound. I thought was awesome, because like on a football team, especially in the pros, kickers are basically like outcast dudes. Like if they miss, like it's hard, like nobody talks to them, nothing. Like, they don't have.
Can I just say this, by the way?
What?
It's so stupid that this sport that we spend so much time and like love and like, our emotions are tied to it at times, comes down to a guy kicking a football. Like it's it's honestly so stupid that that's true. I love it. Like there's so much drama with it. There's so much more drama when you have a kicker that can, generally in this league, like make kicks from anywhere like 60 yards or below. And, it can make or break, you winning a game or losing a game. But at the same time, like it adds a lot of drama, and it's a lot better than like the alternative, which is like, well, you can't even try to get a kick. You have to like always just heave it to the end zone. Like if every game ended in a Hail Mary, it would be far less exciting.
Yeah.
But it also is so stupid. That's what the sport sometimes comes down to. You
like
play for 60 minutes and you just got to get the ball to the freaking opponent's like 38-yard line or 40-yard line. It's game over.
For a dude to kick a ball, and it's crazy.
Oh,
but I thought it was
shaped ball through the
dude. Yeah, it was cool to see them rally around him, take him into the dog pound. He jumped into the dog pound, and Grant and Greg are next to him, like, in the dog pound. I thought it was super cool. Just an unbelievable way to end that football game. And
also,
go ahead.
Now that they won in those jerseys, we have to live through the brown jerseys more.
They're so good. They're so good.
I think this is a classic case of Meg seeing things through brown and orange colored
glasses.
Nobody wanted brown jerseys, man. Come on.
Nobody wanted them, but they're perfect. They're great. No, the only addition would be if they add the orange stripes at the Jarvis.
The Color Rush ones were better. There was something about the orange in that scheme in that system, and also they didn't have brown stripes. But they also didn't have brown helmets with those. They had orange helmets, and it worked. It worked better. But all brown,
dude. Those brown helmets were tough. Those were awesome.
You're awful. Now we're gonna have to see more of them.
No,
you know how it goes. There's like emotions with these things. People don't like the white. The white jerseys, which in my opinion are some of the best jerseys they've ever put out. The white jerseys are awesome, and now everyone's scared to wear them because when they wore the white jerseys, it ended Nick Chubb's career. Basically, it didn't really, but theoretically, like his prime years were over at that point. And like so, it's like all these negative things are associated with it. So now, like, it's a positive thing associated. It's always the first thing, and now there's a positive associated with the Browns, so we're going to get more of the Browns.
No, they're so good. They're so good. You're absolutely positively in the
Let us know in the comments section.
Yeah, let us know.
Yay or nay on the brown jerseys.
They're so good. Spencer was like, "Oh yeah, everybody in my house doesn't like them." Then I got a couple comments.
Okay, I said there was other people. I just said my wife didn't like them.
The rest of the world loves them.
And then I said there was other people. I said I tweeted that same thing I just said, and there was people in my mentions saying they didn't like them. So it's not just I'm not the only person. There's other people that don't like them.
No.
I don't know. You just didn't have to do it. You didn't have to make a brown jersey.
So good. Imagine those at night. Imagine a night game. Snow coming down. They're in the outfit.
They don't have any of those this year, but
there's
always a flex option if Shedeur Sanders ends up starting at some point. Ooh. Anyway, we're not talking quarterbacks yet. We've gone 17 minutes and haven't talked about the Browns defense, which is bad on us because let's be honest. Andre Schmidt gets the glory for making the kick. Even Shelby Harris, to a degree, is going to get celebrated. And he actually had a funny quote because he said he's from Milwaukee. So he said, well, the best part about me blocking that kick is that everybody back home is upset about it because they're all Packers fans. He also, I saw this on the post-game stats. He has 7 blocked field goals in his career.
Crazy.
Which is funny because I don't know if I said this to you, Megs, but I joked at the time that Shelby Harris made this roster because every other day at practice and training camp, he was like he was knocking down passes at the line of scrimmage. And he's basically made a career out of blocking field goals, and it's part of his game. Like it was a joke, but it kind of is true. Like he made this team because he can do stuff like that.
Dude, we talked about it because I remember early in camp, right? We would come on and we would do our shows post practice, and like I would see all the clips from practice. You'd be there, and seeing it live, and I'd see all the clips where like he wouldn't even rush the quarterback, and it would be Dylan Gabriel, and he would just stand there and wait till Dylan got into his throwing motion, put his arms up, and I used to hate that when I played. I used to hate that so much. Like, hey, we're in practice, we can't sack the quarterback, so we're not going to rush him, and we're just going to bat stuff down. And then because you and I joked about it, and then this happens, and he's directly impacts winning the football game, dude. But like another and
he was on the roster bubble, and honestly, the knocking down balls at the line of scrimmage might be why he made the team. I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know.
It's wild, but like even the bigger picture to that conversation is like the interior defensive line today was spectacular. Like spectacular. This Mason Graham is unbelievable. These rookies, like I don't even know where to start. Like there's no.
Well, we're starting on the defense. So start with.
Well, no, I'm staying on the defense. Like we could do interior defense line. Carson Schlesinger is unbelievable football player, and Mason Graham is insane. Mason Graham is so good and so disruptive up front. The stat from Seth Walder, he recorded a 43% pass pass rush win rate. Wow, say that 5 times fast. Against the Packers, the average for a defensive tackle is 9%. He was winning on 43% of his pass rushers, and he had half a sack today. He was a menace against the run. Nobody can run the football against the Browns. It's insane. No. And it all starts with that defensive line, man. They are terrors to try and block and try to move the football against, because they are relentless. Led by Myles Garrett, and Alex Wright had a huge sack today. Like, there's so much across the board, and they dominated the football game, and they are the reason that Cleveland stayed in it, and they're the reason they won the game.
Well, you bring on Mason Graham. I would actually shout out Malik Collins. Malik Collins had 1.5 sacks today, and there was actually a stat I saw earlier in the week. It was somebody put out a chart that was percentage of double team, the percentage of guy gets double teamed, and then the other the x-axis was, I might have these flipped in my head, but the other axis was essentially pass rush win percentage. And Malik Collins doesn't get doubled a lot. He's only getting doubled about like 50% of the time. But he had the highest pass rush win percentage of like all the guys on this entire chart. And that like showed up today. Like he had 2 sacks. He was constantly in the backfield. The fact that like they can only double so many guys, right? They generally it's going to be Myles. And so the reason we felt this defensive line was the best one assembled in the Kevin Stefanski era is because it's from all areas. It's Myles on the outside. Even Isaiah McGuire and Alex Wright as a rotation sort of tandem have been really good, complimenting him. And then inside you have Mason Graham and Malik Collins to worry about. I mean, it's remarkable what that defensive line's able to do. They stop the run well, as you said. They get after the passer. They made life hell for Jordan Love today. And like this win, it was the defense as a whole, because, Grant Delpit makes the interception. Like, there's a number of plays that sort of stand out. But it all starts with the defensive line and how brilliant that group is. I mean, there's a bunch of obvious stats, but there's also some less obvious ones. The Browns obviously held the Packers to 10 points today. The Packers only had 230 yards of total offense. 81 of those came on the ground. 149 came through the air. Like, that's not a lot of yards even through the air. Through 3 quarters, Green Bay was averaging 3.5 yards per play. By the end of the game, it only ballooned up to 3.8 after they had those 2 late drives that, they scored the touchdown on the one, and then they were going to kick the game-winning field goal that got blocked on the other. The Packers offense only crossed the 50 3 times today. Yeesh. And then 6 different guys had sacks in this game, if you count like all the halves and stuff like that, obviously combined. I mean, it was a brilliant day, and it all is this defense goes as the defensive line goes. But what also is kind of like sobering about it all is the fact that like this defense in general is Super Bowl levels good, and it just stinks that. And this was honestly the column I was going to write over at Roundtable after the game. I had like 3/4 of a column written about how the Browns are wasting a Super Bowl level defense, and I had to kind of tweak it to address like all the craziness that transpired.
Dang, what a bummer.
But I have a feeling that that's going to end up still being a relevant column. Like, do you not feel that? I mean, I get it. We're all everyone's still riding high after this game. Yeah. But like the offense is below average. They can't score a lot of points, and it's crazy how good this defense is and how bad the offense is that it doesn't complement the defense whatsoever. And if it did, who knows what this team could be? You know what I'm saying?
They would be great. I would also say a lot of the key pieces are going to be around for. At least you hope. You have a good foundation, right?
You can't account for injuries, of course, but yes.
Right.
Yes.
And in theory, like this group should be good for a couple years, and Myles isn't going to play for forever. And you want to. This was huge, I think, for like the psyche of the team, obviously. But this turns off the hey, we're going to punt this whole seat. Like you can at least still try to compete, and do that. But like I think your point is valid. I do think that, you solve the quarterback position. Obviously, we've been trying to solve it for 30 years or something. They did that stat side by side. I think Packers have had 3 quarterbacks in the last 30 years since 99, and the Browns at 40. Yeah, which is hilarious.
Are the Packers like the quarterback? You know how like in college they say like DBU and wide receiver U and all? Are the Packers like quarterback U in the NFL?
I think
like
so.
3 quarterbacks in 40 years?
Favre, Rodgers, and Love, and it turns out Jordan Love is his stats through the first 35
I saw
games.
that. Yeah, I saw that during the game. They're
Identical,
basically identical to Aaron
identical.
Rodgers.
So they got Aaron Rodgers, which that's cool.
Because I've said for years Aaron Rodgers was like the most talented quarterback until maybe Patrick Mahomes. But I've said like Aaron Rodgers was the most talented quarterback I'd ever seen.
Yeah,
didn't mean he was the best when you do like big picture, all the puzzle pieces together. But he was always just like doing stuff that I was like, quarterbacks can do this, like it's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah,
his arm's crazy. And I mean, well, we'll get back on track here, but I do think that from the conversation we were having about the defensive line and about this defense as a whole, I think the core of it, the foundation of it, is a group you can keep together for a while, which is positive. So that you can try to figure it out.
The only problem is, and I say this all the time, defenses are kind of like bullpens in baseball. Like year to year, things can be so different. Yeah. I would think if you keep the bones of this defense largely together, they'll be okay. But that's like last year, the defense.
Perfect.
They were always going to take a step back in 2023. I think that was such a great defense. But you brought some of those guys back, right? You had Mo Hurst come back, you had Zadarius Smith come back, and it was just not the same. Like it just wasn't the same group. So those things happen. I think you do have to tweak some things along the way. There's obviously room to draft some guys and add to that side of the ball too. So that always is a factor. But you hope they can keep it together because this group is, like I said, Super Bowl level good. Yeah. And again, you don't win this game without them. No. They've done it the first 3 weeks. Honestly, the team should be arguably 2-1. Because the defense has kept them in at least 2 of the 3 games they played this year. And they did keep them in the Ravens game for a while before it just kind of spiraled because of too many turnovers and things. But like this win today certainly doesn't happen without the defense because they shut that offense down for most of the game. And then in the key moments, you have Grant Delpit getting an interception, first turnover of the season for the defense. And,
Devin Bush, that fumble.
And it's not even just that he got the interception, it's that he took it to the 4-yard line. And like that's how the only way this offense can score is if you basically hand them points. And that's basically what Grant Delpit did. He was like, hey, here you go. You're on the doorstep. Punch it in. And they did with Quinshon Judkins. We'll get to him in a second. And so like they did everything, all the things we talked about, like this team can only win if the defense basically is Herculean every single game. They did all that today, and it was finally enough to get them over the hump because the offense just isn't there to pick up the slack.
And I would, 2 things. First, context of the game is important too. Like I think the Packers have like equally good defense that the Browns have. Like they're on the same level. So yes, the offense is struggling.
Their offense, though, I consider them a Super Bowl contender, and their offense has some issues.
Some big issues in it. Big issues. I'd like to zoom out just one more thing. Last thing on that I need to add to the defensive conversation. 3 games so far. This comes from more from you, Cleveland, on X. 3 games so far. Chase Brown of the Cincinnati Bengals had 21 carries. 43 yards and a touchdown. Derrick Henry had 11 carries for 23 yards, and then Josh Jacobs had 16 carries for 30 yards. And even more so on the Josh Jacobs conversation, he had scored a touchdown in 11 straight games. Today was the first game in 11 straight games that he didn't score a touchdown.
I think if he had scored 12, he would have tied a record.
I think it was. Yeah, he would have tied a record.
Was it LT?
It was LT. There was it was a good group of guys. I got that stat from Part of My Take, so I don't know. I have to go back and listen to it.
Yeah, we'll have to find that one. But either way. I mean, we could keep talking about this defense all night. I mean, they're remarkable. They're special. It stinks. It's kind of going to waste with this offense that just can't do anything throughout most of games.
Man, are you all right, dude? Are you good?
I mean, dude, am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Hey, you're not wrong, but the Packers have the best defense in the NFC. That was the best defense you'll see in the NFC.
Yeah,
the best one.
But again, it's another week where we're sitting there saying, when are the Browns going to score 20 points? I understand what you're saying, but it's another week where they haven't scored 20 points. They haven't been able to move the ball. The Bengals defense is one of the worst in football, probably. That was on full display today. And that didn't really, Carson Wentz sliced and diced them. So what does that tell you? Like, so they've had, it's not, I mean, I get it. The Ravens defense is also good. We know this opening start of the schedule is tough, but I'm not as much as
understatement. It's the hardest in the league.
Listen, as much as I want to, let people be excited about the win today, I also can't, I'm not going to leave here and sugarcoat anything either. Yes, it's an exciting win. It's good that the Browns got this one. They needed it. The defense is phenomenal. I'm going to gush about all those things, but we have to also face the harsh reality. that this offense right now remains a joke, and it did hold the team back today in a lot of ways. I'll say, like, there was moments. Yes, I think the one bright spot is that Quinshon Judkins looked really good today. Yet again, they only ran the ball 19 times, and he had 18 of the carries, 94 yards, averaged over 5 yards per carry. So he had a great day. And if that can become the identity of this team, if that can become something that they can do consistently, like we saw today, then it changes everything. Like, maybe I shouldn't say everything, and I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but it changes a lot, and it gives the offense something that they can lean on, and maybe they finally have a strength, and then that maybe sets the table for other things to open up, and passing game downfield, all those different things. So it's a good start, and it's a positive sign. But do I think that that's going to save this offense? Probably not. And honestly, we'll talk more about the quarterback thing, but the problems go beyond the quarterback position too. We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
but I know you want to talk about. I know you want to talk about Quinshon. So
Quinshon was awesome today, and he was exactly what you needed. There's a really cool clip of him early in the game. He chip blocked on. He did a chip on Micah Parsons and got him good. Came off play action. Micah was on the left side of the line. The play action was to the left, and he smoked him. Got him real good, and it pissed Micah off. And you could see Micah pointing at him and talking to him. And then he proceeded to rush for 98 yards. Obviously, a lot of them came late, but that's what good running backs do. He hits the hole hard. He runs physically. He runs tough. Maybe doesn't have the breakaway speed. You that one he broke to the edge. You'd love to see him turn the corner and go, but hey, he what he's going to be, and he's what he's going to get you. And he runs with bad intentions. He did it at Ohio State. He did it at Ole Miss. He's only going to get better. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say it's why I loved him coming out of college, because
you were on him the whole
awesome.
time. And through 2 games for him, he's played in 2 games. The rest of the rookie running backs have played in 3, and he leads them in rushing. He's got 155 rushing yards. It's 11 more than Ashton Genty, which is awesome. That's what you want to be.
Genty might be a bust. Everyone's saying he's a bust. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not taking a running back in the top 10. That's just me though. Yeah, that's what you wanted to see. And when they said, hey, he's going to be the Nick Chubb replacement.
Genty was okay today. 17 carries, 63 yards.
Yeah, that's all. He runs physically. He runs very, very hard. But, on our side of things, you let Nick Chubb go. Nick Chubb today, 9 carries for 38 yards for the Texans. So, he is what he is. I think he certainly lost a step, but they replace him with Quinshon Judkins, and this is what it was supposed to look like. This is what they told you it was going to look like, and it's looking the part. And I think that is something you can build on, because when you are we talked about it on Wednesday, when you're in 2nd and 6 or 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 1, that makes third down. That makes your third downs be 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5. And now you can get those. And when you're in 2nd and 10, you're in 2nd and 11, 2nd and 12, because you can't run the football, you're set up to fail. And the fact that they were able to run the ball effectively today, was one of the positives that the offense did.
Yeah, like I said, it is maybe the one thing that gives you hope moving forward that the offense can figure something out. But I'm also not holding my breath, because there's a lot that's still bad on this team. And I want to sort of get to that next, because I know what the conversation already is. I know what the conversation is going to continue to be as far as the quarterback position is concerned. Joe Flacco didn't look very good today, all things considered. And, even in a win, the Browns aren't going to make a change. And Kevin Stefanski was clear about that after this game and yet again today. But there's going to be fans on the outside saying they need to make a change. They need to go to a different quarterback. It's time for Dylan Gabriel. Let's see what he can do. And I put this out during the game. It's not, and I want to be clear here. My point here isn't that they shouldn't make the change. Because I understand the thought process behind it. If you do, all right, try something different. Maybe inject some life into the offense. You might as well, because it can't be any worse. I get all those things. But I said, the offensive line is playing so poorly right now, especially in pass protection. I mean, Megs, you know the sport well. You were a quarterback yourself. There's miscommunications week after week where somebody just goes unblocked on multiple times in games. Yeah. Somebody goes unblocked, or I think you saw there was one play, I think it was in the 3rd quarter, where Joe Flacco was under pressure and Quinshon went to the wrong guy to sort of pass pro for the quarterback, and the guy it made there was a free rusher coming right in on Flacco, and I think that's one of those moments where it was here's something Quinshon I think is still getting up to speed on, right? Yep. Knowing where to attack. It was a play action play, I think too. I think they faked the handoff to him first. Those are the types of things that just right now aren't working. And it starts on the offensive line, though. There's a lot of miscommunications, a lot of guys getting through. And it's not just like it's the veterans, it's the younger guys. The fact that they already had to move off of the DeJuan Jones left tackle experience to start Cornelius Lucas and move DeJuan Jones back to the right side, I thought was pretty telling, because he was supposed to be there for most of the year and like really get his shot to see what he could do. And unfortunately, they already had to sort of move off of that. Obviously, injuries played a role in that too, with Jack Conklin sidelined. But yeah, man, like there's just a lot of bad from this offensive line right now. So my point in all this is, yes, I get why you would make a quarterback change, but I'm also hesitant to just be like, well, that's going to fix everything, because I don't know that there's a lot of quarterbacks in this league, let alone a rookie quarterback that can have success behind an offensive line that's struggling the way that the Browns are struggling.
And it's going to get worse too, because DeJuan Jones' injury to his knee looked pretty bad, and he's had knee issues before. So that part, that part shouldn't excite you. And also too, I would add, like, the offensive line was bad, and then you go with 2 backup tackles. It's not good. Like it's very, very bad. And if you're getting beat because Micah Parsons is beating you and Rashawn Gary's beating you because they're better players, that's one thing. The stuff that was happening today, I can think of a third down. I'm gonna have to watch it back, but a third down where the Packers bring pressure, so they added on. Maybe they brought 6 or 7, and we had 2 guys running open. The Quinshon was coming out of the backfield, like totally uncovered. I think Isaiah Bond was over the middle on like a 10-yard dig route. He was open, but Rashawn Gary just didn't get touched. Coming off the Flacco's right side, and just had a free run to the quarterback. And it's like, hey, if you just
that one looked like it looked like they slid Teller slides to the left, and then I think actually because Gary is an interior guy, the tight end, I think it was Njoku, actually chipped the defensive end, and so Levinston should have just taken Gary, and he just let him run right through. But again, those are the communications that I'm talking about. Like every week there's another one or multiple, and those aren't problems that I know, like maybe they get fixed, but when you have different pieces and parts each week at different spots, and guys are playing different positions and guys are getting hurt, there's no guarantee that it gets fixed. And that's why that's what I'm saying essentially. Is like I don't know that a lot of quarterbacks should have success behind this offensive line right now.
You're dead right, and that's the part that sucks, because that was one of the things that we've been waiting for, this downfall of this offensive line, specifically the interior of Posick, Teller, and Bitonio. They've been so good for so long, and you're like waiting for the other foot to drop, and it's here, and it's not a gradual decline. It's not a gradual decline; it's a fall off a cliff decline, and that's what you're kind of seeing, which sucks. And it's like Joel's at the end of his career, like that's the part that's really sucks. But like even today, Kevin, after the game in the post-game locker room, not in the conference. It's an awesome video. I'd recommend it. It's on Brown Social. I retweeted it from our page, but he was basically like, yeah, Joel couldn't walk this morning. And he was like, no, I'm going to go. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to go. And he was back. It was pretty bad.
He had a great quote after the game. Did you see his quote after the game?
I didn't see it. No, what did he say?
Joel basically was like, maybe I'm a sicko, but I love the Cleveland Browns. And what was
I don't know how many games I have left or something like that.
He said, you don't know how many chances you have left to play this game, and maybe I'm a sicko too, but I love the Browns, so I'll do anything I can to be out there. I was like, if like that, the Cleveland gets us meters off the charts with that.
Off the charts. Sure. Build the statue. I don't care. You go 3 and 4.
Send him to the Hall of Fame with Joe Thomas.
Yes, he's going.
But no, you're right. There's definitely a decline happening. It's disappointing because I really thought there was still some life in there where like this group, I didn't know that they'd get back to what they were like, 3 years ago when they were probably at the peak of their powers, and like the run game was great behind Nick Chubb. And
Teller was just deleting people.
In front of Nick, and it was like, and this group was one of the best units in football. But I thought they'd at least be solid getting back to like the system they want to run and having coaching that actually like works for them. And that just hasn't been the case. It's a problem. It's a problem. And that's on top of, by the way, as we talk about the quarterback situation, that's on top of the limitations we know they have at the skill positions. I thought Cedric Tillman was pretty good today, but I still see like throughout longer stretches of games, these guys just have trouble getting open. I think Jerry Jeudy can get open, but I don't know that anybody else really can. It's a lot of dink and dunk. And maybe that works in certain aspects. Maybe that's what Kevin Stefanski wants from a Dylan Gabriel when he gets out there eventually. And ultimately, a quarterback change is inevitable. I know it's going to happen. But I just am like, yeah, maybe that helps. but I don't know if it fixes everything with this offense because there's bigger problems here. And I will say this: the one thing I know for sure helps is that Joe Flacco cannot move to save his life.
Yeah.
And if you put Dylan Gabriel in there, at least you know you have that working for you, where he can maybe navigate the pocket differently and maybe somewhat smoother because he has the ability to move.
And a big part of Kevin Stefanski's offenses are, the play action, the bootlegs, right? Where you're getting guys, you're getting the reverse action off of play action where David Njoku and Harold Fannin is awesome. Like that's he's really great. Freaking good football player. And Flacco talked about him and what makes him special after the game. Really cool quote. It was something along the lines of like, you don't realize how strong he is and just how athletic he is. When that run at the end, the 13-yard gain where he should have got tackled 6 different times, just like refused to go down, really showed that. But Dylan will ultimately unlock that. I still agree with you, man. When you're going through this stretch of football, this really tough stretch, if we get out of here with 2 wins, I think that's what you and I earmarked it at in this first 6. You feel like you can try to make a run, coming with the last 11 games. And they get that one today, even with Flacco, and you're like, all right, at least you got it. There's still a lot to fix, a lot to clean up, but there are certainly glaring concerns throughout the offense.
Yeah. And again, my point is not do not make a change or that they won't make a change or that they shouldn't make a change at some point. My point is just it might be a struggle for Dylan Gabriel too, because there's a lot that's wrong with this offense. And it makes you realize too that yes, they have to get the quarterback position figured out.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm already thinking about the fact that, maybe they draft a quarterback next year that they think is their real franchise guy. But they might want to draft like a new starting guard or like a new left tackle to go along with them because
the offensive line is going to be totally new.
It's going to be totally new. Aside from maybe DeJuan Jones, like maybe DeJuan Jones is okay and he can play right tackle for you. But aside from that, like the rest of that offensive line is pretty much on on 1-year deals or on the last year of their deals. There's no guarantee that any of them are back. You're going to be remaking this thing on the fly, and you're going to have to put whatever quarterback you get in the best possible situation behind that unit. So there's a lot of questions there. I think that is something that's looming for this team down the line in the offseason. We obviously don't have to talk about that now. But it's not just about the quarterback play. There's a lot more to it for sure.
No, you'll say this, like everyone's doing the quarterback trackers on Saturday nights or Saturdays. I was watching the Utah game because they had two.
I specifically flipped the games to games that I am like watching quarterbacks for the Browns. Like I was locked in. Dude. I turned it off. I turned it off about halfway through the third quarter and went to the South Carolina game. But I was like locked in on Indiana, Illinois for a while because I was like Fernando Mendoza. Baby. By the way, he feels like completely like a Kevin Stefanski quarterback. He has like a strong arm. He can process quickly.
6'5".
His biggest thing is he's not that mobile. But other than that, like he's like a classic Kevin Stefanski quarterback to me. So
I was watching.
But I was watching Lenore Sellers.
I was watching left tackles. That's what I was watching.
I was watching Arch Manning taunt some guy that's going to be like selling insurance in like 2 years or something like that. Some like low life school.
Do your thing, Arch. Yeah, Arch.
So funny.
Do your thing, dude.
Anyway, that's all the time that we have. I think we've covered everything. Did we miss anything? I don't think we missed anything. Did we?
Let's see. We got defense. We got offense.
We got the brown jerseys. We got the kicker argument. We got We got everything.
Atmosphere looked really cool today. I was curious to see what it was going to be like because I know everyone was kind of on the fritz, but like, you get that win, man. It keeps the crew, it keeps the fan base spot in. Now you get a chance to beat the Lions next week, and you never know. I'll tell you what, the Vikings don't scare you. The Steelers,
well, they might after today, but
no.
I think in general, they're a team that can be beaten.
Hey, are we doing hot takes? Are we teasing hot takes? Because we had a hot take go in our text chain today.
You're talking about my hot take? Well, I said I probably need like another week or two.
All right, we'll do it. We'll keep it in the holster.
But I have something in mind that I am starting to think. So we'll see.
It's fun to get a win, dude. It's fun to get a win. I recommend if you haven't already, you live under a rock. But if you haven't gone to the Browns Twitter page or Instagram, go. All the post-game videos are awesome. The locker room looks sweet. It's all really good stuff. So go check all that stuff out.
Yes, please do that. And as always, we want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel, Cleveland Browns Roundtable here. If you like what you heard, if you want more conversations like this from Eggs and I throughout the week and after games and pregame.
Tell us if you like the jerseys, please.
Yeah, let us know if you like the Brown jerseys too. Please don't. Please take my side because there's gonna be no. This is the worst time to ask this because everyone's gonna say yes. They're gonna be like, yeah, we love them.
Tonight.
They
answers are due tonight at midnight.
they got a win that they normally would lose in those jerseys. So, of course, we like the jerseys because let's be honest, the Browns lose way more games like that than they win. So, it's fine. People are going to like them because of the win. But regardless, keep on following along with us. And be sure to head on over to roundtable.io/sports/NFL/Browns, which Meg's promised is going to be shortened at some point. We haven't heard anything since.
It's close.
But if it doesn't get shortened, you can take it up with him. Because it is a mouthful. And of course, like I said, subscribe to the YouTube channel here. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a fun conversation. We had a lot to cover, but I think we got to it all. Exciting win for the Browns. Enjoy it, fans. And we'll talk to you later in the week. Until then, keep on following along with all things Cleveland Browns with the Cleveland Browns Roundtable.